most people mention gray matter, they think the brain, or nothing, because it's not a very common thing to talk about. When most people mention DC music, they think Fugazi, or nothing, because it's not a very common thing to talk about. But one band truly sticks out, one who doesn't get as much credit, despite being there with all the other top DC bands. That band is the Slicky Boys. I'm just kidding, it's Gray Matter. Look at that guy. And just think, I mean, that guy can, like, vote and stuff. Yeah.
Crucified your sins. Crucified your sins.
In 1983, the DC band Iron Cross had reached a high point of popularity for a local punk band. Unfortunately, their large, violent skinhead audience disillusioned 16-year-old drummer Dante Ferrando and guitarist Mark Haggerty. They decided to leave to form a new band with longtime friends and Iron Cross roadies Jeff Turner and Steve Niles. The resulting band was the G-Men, later changed to Gray Matter after a song of theirs got the same name. In the mid-1980s, the DC punk scene took a sharp turn, going from the fast and furious pace of bands like Minor Threat and Void to a slower and extremely emotional form of punk. These bands were the first of a new movement of DC bands. The movement was dubbed Revolution Summer, and it was known for its extremely emotional and passionately raw music. Gray Matter, however, show a stark contrast to this trend, going back to their English punk roots and adding a sense of melody. They also showed a stark contrast in personality and humor, by writing songs about their love for caffeine, going against DC's famous straight-edge nature by admitting to being heavy drinkers and smokers, and covering the Beatles. Dante's father, Bobby Ferrando, owned a local hippie hangout and health food restaurant, Food for Thought. Gray Matter would frequently practice in the basement of the restaurant, and eventually it was decided that they should host a show there. This spawned a series of shows with such bands as Rites of Spring, Beefeater, Kingface, and Embrace. Although Rites of Spring and Beefeater got more publicity than Gray Matter, their presence in Revolution Summer was strong. Almost all the shows happened at Food for Thought, and almost all the shows at Food for Thought featured Gray Matter. In 1985, the band went into Inner Ear Studios and recorded their debut LP, accordingly titled Food for Thought. The album came out on local punks Richard Moore and Bert Pierre's label? R&B Records, while most of the band was still in high school. The record featured Gray Matter's unique blend of hard-hitting punk styles and a sense of melody. The record received positive reviews, but since R&B Records was not particularly established, the record went out of print indefinitely after it sold out its first pressing. In 1986, after writing a whole new batch of songs that showed the influence of the emotional DC bands, Grey Matter went back to Inner Ear to record the explosive, powerful EP, Take It Back.
Search yourself, search your mind when you find yourself losing time. Wonder whether things look right when you find yourself losing time. Got to rely on myself, 'cause there's really no one else. There's nothing next door for me. I didn't give up feeling weak. Just hold myself, accept the curse, and let myself be so much. Then lose myself in self-sorry. Lose myself in no tomorrow. Smile a while and know it's wrong. I'm here to be forgotten.
This album came out on Discord Records, DC's premier punk label. This meant more pressings and better distribution. The record got rave reviews, and things were looking up for Grey Matter. Unfortunately, DC had a bit of a curse. Because so many bands started so young, so many broke up after graduation. When Mark Haggerty got accepted to go to school in New Zealand, things didn't look good. So they began practicing with Joe Christian, brother of local musician Chris Bald. The lineup just didn't click. It was done. So Grey Matter had their last show the only way they could have, with a rooftop concert at Food for Thought. They played until the police came and shut it down. Jeff Turner managed to keep himself busy by running a small studio/label, WGNS. Steve Niles worked from the apartment he shared with Turner on his small comic production company, Arcane Comics. Dante Ferrando went on an extended motorcycle trip, never to be seen again. In mid-1986, following the demise of Grey Matter, Turner and Niles jammed with former Minor Threat members and owners of Discord Records, Ian Mackay and Jeff Nelson. Though Ian didn't really think too much of the band, Nelson hit it off with Jeff and Steve, and they soon started a band with the recently returned Mark Haggerty. I guess he was only in New Zealand for like 2 months. The new band was named 3. The name came when Jeff Nelson was asked how many people were in the band, and he neglected to include himself. They were immediately popular, with much more pop sensibilities and tightness than Grey Matter. On the other side of town, the recently returned Chris Bald, after living in California for a while, decided to start a new band that would counter all the poppy emotional crap he was hearing from his old town. He enlisted his old bandmate and insane frontman Alec Mackay, former Soulside bassist Chris Thompson, and recently returned drummer Dante Ferrando. They called the band Ignition to represent the jump-starting of the scene. Both bands debuted together at the 930 Club, featuring this poster of all the bands standing together, but with no band names on it. You don't know how many times I scrolled over this flyer without realizing how useful it was. Both bands had a good run. Ignition toured constantly, and 3 was receiving rave reviews. But like all DC bands, someone had to disagree. In 3, it was Jeff Nelson and Steve Niles. Nelson felt Niles was more focused on Arcane Comics instead of the band, which was mostly true. Then Niles went and broke his hand the night before a short tour. Nelson decided that was enough, and the band disbanded shortly before the release of their first and only album, tellingly titled Dark Days Coming. In Ignition, Dante Ferrando and Chris Thompson had trouble dealing with the very imposing Chris Bald, something that broke apart a handful of Chris's bands. In addition, Alec Mackay got in a motorcycle wreck on the way home from a show, and his recovery and medical debt took a toll on the momentum of the band. Then, Dante found out that Food for Thought might lose its lease. He couldn't stay. Both bands ended in 1989. In 1990, for reasons unknown but never questioned, Grey Matter reunited with a self-titled double 7-inch and a string of local shows. Though it instilled hope in the hearts of all United Nations, it seemed unlikely that the band would do much out-of-town work, as Dante was busy with Food for Thought and Jeff was busy with WGNS Studios. And indeed, they didn't do much outside of DC. Nevertheless, the 1992 LP, Fog, was solid and featured classic but matured Grey Matter sound. Oh, and it had this weird hand cover. These guys are weird. Once again, the group disbanded. Today, Jeff Turner still runs WGNS. Dante Ferrando opened the popular DC venue, the Black Cat, which features Food for Thought as the club restaurant. Steve Niles became a well-known comic book writer, writing the modestly successful comic-turned-movie 30 Days of Night. Mark Haggerty, I know he lives in San Francisco. Come on, give me a break, guys. They aren't famous. You can't just Google them and find their life story.
Sometimes I feel like a really strange walking by myself. Now it seems my hopes and dreams all came from somewhere else, but I don't know.
2008, in honor of the 15th anniversary of the Black Cat, Dante, Jeff, Steve, and Mark all got on stage to play together as Grey Matter for the first time since the early 90s. They played the entire album Take It Back and other assorted tunes. After that, they disbanded for the 8 billionth time. Never to be... Wait, does the Discord page say that they're still together?